सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। चैतन्यं सर्वगं सर्वं सर्वभूतगुहाशयं यत्सर्वविषयातीतं तस्मै सर्वविदे नमः। दृशिस्वरूपं गगनोपमं परं सकृद्विभातं त्वजमेकमक्षरम् अलेपकं सर्वगतं यदद्वयम् तदेव चाहं सततं विमुक्त ॐ। दुषिस्तु शुद्धोऽहमविक्रियात्मकः न मेऽस्ति कश्चिद्विषयस्वभावतः पुरस्तिरश्चोर्ध्वमधश्च सर्वतः सम्पूर्णभूमा त्वज आत्मनि स्थितः। पूर्व प्रकरणे युक्त्या व्यवस्थापितम्. So what was ascertained, determined, arrived at? By yukti, by reasoning in the earlier chapter. What is it? Atmanah nirvishaya jnana svabhavatvam. That Atma is nirvishaya jnana svabhava. Atma is svabhava, the nature of nirvishayatvam, it is objectless. That there is no object as far as Atma, the consciousness, is concerned. That means it is non-dual. That's the only reality. If there is something thought to be there, it does not enjoy the same degree of reality as Atma. And so, what is thought to be there as other than Atma? Yatra anyat pashyati, anyat vijanati, yatra nanyat pashyati. Anyat pashyati, anyat vijanati, anyat shrunoti, vijanati. Tadalpam. Yatra nanyat pashyati, nanyat shrunoti, nanyat vijanati. Sabhuma. There is nothing to see, nothing to hear, nothing to know. Natva dvaitam asti, that dvitiyam asti, nasti. That second thing is not there. Yat pashyet. For Atma to see, it requires a second thing. What is second? A thing enjoying the same degree of reality. looks like in the waking and dream states, Atma is constantly experiencing things, the objects, etc. And therefore it looks like there is Atma and then there is the objective world. That's why deep sleep state experience is taken. Where it is noted that Natu tad dvitiyam asti anyat yat pashet. There is no second thing which Atma can see. Which means in the waking and dream states, where this second thing is supposed to be, is not there. It's just an appearance, projection, mithya. That's how the second thing is not there. Ekameva dvitiyam. There's no dvitiya, no sajatiya, vijatiya, swagata, bheda. It's not there. It's there at some level. That's why it is to be denied. The reason why the Veda has to be denied, why do you have to say it's not there? If it's not there, why do you need to say it is not there? It's not there, but thought to be there. And that thought, which Vedanta would say is projection, forms the basis of our life. That's the thing. And that is the source of all our problems, conflicts, etc. Therefore, the need to analyze what that dvitiya is. What is it that causes problem to me? Because the world is a problem to me. Na sato vidyate bhavaha na bhavo. That's what Lord Krishna said, the same thing. The so-called dvitiyam therefore is analyzed, the reality of that. That it is not real, because had it been real, it would have been there consistently all the time, in all the states. It is now there in waking or dream, not there at another time in deep sleep, which means it is not there. Nirvishaya jnana svavatvam svanubhava abhinayana. Author wants to say, that's my experience now. So, that what was arrived at by reasoning is expressed as one's own experience by the author. Svanubhava abhinayana prakatayan, revealing by describing one's own experience or one's own knowledge. Avishatvena atmajnanam bhavati iti dhraitam. Atmajnanam avishatvena bhavati. That self-knowledge takes place, always devoid of the object of knowledge. In self-knowledge, there is no jnana vishaya, meaning that there is no object of knowledge. Which means self also is not known as an object. That's how Atma Jnanam has to take place. Iti dhradayitam. This is important for the student to understand and firmly understand. So it is said nirvishayam jnanam. So what does it mean to you? That's what is being described here. Drishi swarupam, I'm of the nature of drishi or consciousness. Gaganopamam, comparable to, similar to Gagana, or space, boundless, formless, param, limitless. Also akasham or akasha, that which shines. So sakrut vibhatam, one that shines, not once but always shines. So once is interpreted as always, sakrut vibhatam, always shining, self-effulgent. To ajam, ekam, aksharam. All of this description of nirvishaya atma. If there is janma, then there is a question of something that is born. There is no janma. Ajam, ekam, aksharam. alepakam, that which is devoid of any lepa, which cannot be tainted. Sarvagatam yadadvayam tadeva chaham, that alone I am. Satatam vimukta, therefore I am always free. Om, that Om is a means of this knowledge also is expressed here. Nanu akasavad alepakatvam drushe na sangachade. Drushi, the consciousness, that is alepakam, is untainted, unpolluted, like space. Na sangachade. It is not reasonable, not logical, doesn't make sense. Why? Drishya, the same, coming back to the same theme. Drishya sammandat, because there seems to be drishya. Consciousness seems to illuminate everything, and therefore there is consciousness of something. The consciousness is experienced by us as consciousness of something. Drishya sammandat, therefore consciousness is always accompanied with that of which one is conscious. That's called drishyam. You never experience consciousness as it is. Consciousness is experienced. Drishya samman were always associated with or related to drishyam, the object of consciousness. Ashuddhi vikriyadi dosha sambhavat. What is drishyam? What is perceived is jadam, achetanam. Therefore, subject to birth and death is impermanent, perishable. Ashuddham, impure, because anything that is bound is impure. Purity calls for boundlessness. Something is bound, there is something else outside the boundary which will interact with that and influence it. So, Shuddhi, Vikriyadi. When something is bound, then anything outside that also will act upon that and bring about change. Itself also will change, anything limited. Ashuddhi, Vikriyadi, Dosha Sambhavat. That as we understand consciousness is always consciousness of something, that something is drishyam, which is limited, bound, therefore changing, perishable, impure. And consciousness is always related to something like this. Therefore, how can you say consciousness is pure, is taintless? How can you say that? Iti ashankya. Drushehe atma swarupatvat. The drushi of the consciousness that we are talking about, atma swarupa, is the very swarupa, the nature of atma, the self. Tasya cha nitya shuddhatvadehe shruttya eva nirdharanat. See, atma swarupam is something that has to be ascertained by Shruti. We cannot determine the Atma Swarupam because Atma cannot become the object of knowledge for us first to determine what Atma is. So, nature of Atma is revealed by Shruti. Tasya nitya shuddhatvadehe shrutya eva nirdharanat. The Atma is nitya, shuddha, buddha, mukta, is something nirdharitam, is something ascertained, revealed by Shruti herself. That being the case, we cannot raise the objection that Atma is impure, is changing, is bound. Shruti says is boundless, changeless, pure. Therefore, ma evam, therefore, your objection It looks like Atma is impure, is limited. It cannot be because that conclusion of yours contradicts what the Shruti says. But then it's my conclusion, maybe your conclusion. Your conclusion is always changing. You don't have a regular, it changes, constant conclusion. What Shruti says is so constantly. Shruti siddhamartham prakatayati. Therefore, what Shruti says is a pramanam here, and this is what we have to accept. That is not blind faith. Accepting what Shruti says means accepting that as a basis. Then I will analyze my conclusion. You follow? Accepting my conclusion as true, and then I am trying to analyze what the Shruti says, that's the wrong thing. If there is a defect in your eye, you cannot examine, what you see or what you conclude. You cannot examine what the real color is based on your conclusion. So you cannot determine what the reality should be based on your observation or conclusion because it is accompanied with lots of defects. Therefore, Shuddha Siddham Artham Prakatayati. So, Siddham, what is proven, established or revealed by Shruti is again explained in the second verse. Let us read the verse number 2 again. Drushistu Shuddhoham Vikriyatmakah Namesti Kaschid Vishayasvabhavatah Purastiraschodhumadascha sarvatah Sampurna bhuma tvaja atmani sthitah. Drushihi tu Shuddha. This is what the Shruti's ascertainment is. Shuddha, Shuddhoham. I am Drushi, Shuddhoham, I am ever pure. Avikriyatmakaha, of the nature of avikriya, changeless. Namesi kaschid vishaya svabhavata. My nature being what it is, there is no vishaya. There is no such thing as objects. Although we call Atma the subject also is understood in relation to object. There is no object, so I can't involve subject really. So aham is what we say I. But there also the primary meaning of aham also will not apply to Atma, or subject also will not apply to Atma. Purah tirascha urdham adasya sarvatah. I am everywhere. Puratah tirascha urdham adasya. I am in front. I am on the sides. I am below. I am in all directions. Sampurna bhuma I am. So bhuma is given also an adjective Sampurna bhuma. Because we will see in Chandogya Upanishad, of describing bhuma, a lot of description, further qualifications were given. Sampurna bhuma. Or I am Sampurna and bhuma. Bhuma means Brahman, the limitless. Ajay Atmane Sthitah, the bhuma, where is it located? This is explaining. So, Narad says, Narada asks Sanat Kumara, Kasmin Pratisthitah, where is bhuma located? Sve Mahimni, Nava, Sve Mahimni also. That it is located or abiding in its own glory, or you can't even say the glory. Ajay, this bhuma, Ajay Atmane Sthitah. Where is the bhuma located? Sampurna located where? Ajay Atmane Sthitah. In Atma there is unborn or birthless, there is a swarupa of bhuma. Sthita means there is a swarupa of bhuma, which is birthlessness, Atma, the very self. Then Tika explains, Drushishtu Shuddhoham Avikriyatmakaha. Drushishtu Shuddho Aham. Aham Drushihi. Aham tu Drushihi. Who am I? Drushihi. Jnana Swarupaha. Of the nature of Jnanam or consciousness. Iti Anvaya. So Drushi Swarupam Gagan Anand. Drushistu Shuddhoham. So what is Anvaya? The prose order Aham Drushihi. I am Jnana Swarupaha. This is what the Anvaya, the prose order is. Therefore what? Ataha Paramarthataha Shuddhaha. Because I am Jnana Swarupaha. And Jnanam by itself is ever pure. Why? Ashuddhyadehe ajnana nibandhanatvat. All ashuddhi, all impurity is always born of ignorance. Therefore, in knowledge, there cannot be any impurity because impurity is always a product of ignorance. In the world also, wherever impurity is there, beginning from our own mind to anywhere, where environment is all ultimately the result of ignorance, self-ignorance. Not knowing what is beneficial to me, I inadvertently wind up doing something that is hurtful to me. The human being has been given the free will to help him. But because of ignorance, what is hurtful is thought to be helpful, and thus we have hurt ourselves, thinking that we are helping ourselves. Anyway, so wherever you ashuddhi, wherever you see, is all product of ignorance. All heaps of mountains of garbage. All product of consumption. Excessive consumption. Again from ignorance. Thinking that more I consume, happier I am. Not understanding the true nature of myself. So this is a general, ashuddhyadehe, anything, impurity and everything else, limitedness, modifications, change, birth, all of this. Ajnana nibandhanatvat is all caused by ignorance. There is darkness. Darkness cannot coexist with light. Ignorance cannot coexist with me, who is the nature of knowledge. Therefore, in me there cannot be ignorance, therefore there cannot be impurity. Then what about impurity? Tasya abhasatvad. Impurity itself is abhasa. Is also a projection, an appearance, not a reality. But ignorance is not a reality. Knowledge alone is reality. Therefore, what is produced from ignorance also is not reality. There is also abhasa. So this is Shruti's nirnaya. Shuddham apavidam. That's why Shruti is quoted. With each statement made in this verse, the Shruti is quoted to say that this is experience based on Shruti and this is the ascertained meaning of Shruti. Shuddham apapaviddham iti mantravarnat comes from Ishava. So now everybody has the footnotes, I guess. Shuddham apapaviddham. Atma tattva is what? Shuddham, ever pure. Apapaviddham, not only Shuddham. Not only pure, but that which cannot be penetrated by sin or impurity or ignorance, which cannot be affected by ignorance. What is the nature of Shuddham? The purity of the Atma is that which cannot be affected by impurity. So it ever Shuddham. So Drushishtu Shuddha Aham Avikriyatmakaha. Yatas Avikriyatmakaha. I am Avikriyatmakaha. Atma means nature. I am nature avikriya. Meaning modificationlessness, changelessness. Modificationless, changeless. Vikriyatmakat pranade anyasya. I am changeless because I am other than what is changing. The creation begins from prana hiranyagarbha sutratma. And the whole creation is changing. Therefore, everything changing beginning from prana. Anyaha, I am different from everything changing beginning from prana. I am different. Aprano hyamana shubraha. Where is that? Oh, I thought you had a footnote. You don't have that. Mundakopanishad. Mundakopanishad. Aprana hyamana shubraha. Aprana devoid of prana. Amanaha devoid of the mind. Shubhra ever shining, pure, self-effulgent. So vikriyatmaka. I am different from anything that is vikriya and therefore I am changeless by nature. Other quotes are also there. Asthulam, ananu, ahrasvam, adirgam. That everybody knows. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So Brahmani, or Atma Tattva is asthulam, not gross, ananu, not small or subtle, ahrasvam, not long, not short, adirgam, not long. Meaning that devoid of all the modifications, changes, qualifications, nirvishesham. They are all visheshas, all attributes are denied in Atma, it is nirvishesham, Atma Tattvam, nirvishesham. Where Visheshta is there, there change can be there. Any Visheshta is there, any qualification, even greatness is there, anything that is there is subject to change. Because relative. Great also is relative with reference to small. So no qualification enjoys an absolute reality or satta. And so Visheshana will change. The flower may be yellow today, after a few days it will change, it fade. Therefore, nirvishesha atma. Therefore, shuddha ityartha. All visheshatas indicate change, ashuddhi, impurity, exclusion. And so shuddha also cannot be visheshana of atma because it will exclude something. Shuddha ityartha. Tad ashnati kinchana, tad ashnati kaschana. Wow. Chandogya Upanishad. Tad ashnati kinchana, tad ashnati kaschana. So there are two tad. Tat kinchana na ashnati. Tat kaschana na ashnati. Na tadashnade kinchana. One sentence. So what's the kartru there? And what is karma? Kartru. And where is the karma? Kinchana is karma. How do you say that? Very good. So kim, basically, is vidya, then chana, etc. is applied, that is the avyaya. So tat kinchana na ashnati, that does not eat anything. Tat ashnati kaschana, what is kartu there? Kaschana, because kaha is first vibhakti. Kaschana, tat is both prathama and vidya. So nobody eats that, it does not eat anything, and nobody eats that. What do you mean? It does not eat anything. You can eat something if it is other than you. You are not eaten by anybody. Anybody can eat you, provided that one is different from you. Iti shrutehe na atmana vishaya samsargaha. Thus this Shruti says that Atma does not have samsarga, any contact or association with Vishaya or object. Therefore, Name asti kaschid vishaya svabhavatah. Second line says, Svabhavatah name kaschid vishaya asti. By nature, there is no vishaya, no object for me. Because I don't eat anything, nothing eats me, that means there is no vishaya other than me. I am not subject also in that case. No Atmana Vishaya Samsarga. Atma does not have samsarga, the association with Vishaya. Svabhavatah. Nameste kaschid Vishaya Svabhavatah. Means what? By nature. Paramat. Because my nature is absolute reality. It is not Svabhava like of anything else. Paramat. In reality, there is no such thing as Vishaya. अनेन विक्रिया हेतु विषय अभावादपि अविक्रियति उक्तम भवति. Earlier avikriya was explained as devoid of anything that is changing. Changeless was explained as Atma is devoid of prana, mana, etc., which are changing. Here, vikriya hetu vishaya bhavat. Anything other than me can cause any vikriya in me. If I am subject, then there is object. There is no vishaya. As far as Atma is concerned, therefore, there is nothing that can bring about any vikriya or change in Atma or in me. Vishaya abhavena advayatmatve bhuvavakyashesham arthatah patati. Vishaya abhavena advayatmatve. That Atma is advaya. Vishaya is something that is second. Vishaya abhava. Absence of Vishaya. Absence of object. There is nothing other than the self. There is what? Advaya, non-dual. Advayatmatve. Vishaya abhavena advayatmatvam. Atma is non-dual because of absence of the second thing, Vishaya or object. Bhuvakyam, Bhuvavakya Shesham Arthatah Patati. So part of the Bhuvavakya, the whole section dealing with Bhuma, a part is quoted here for showing how there is nothing other than Bhuma. What is Bhuma? The Bhuma is Advitiya. And Bhuma is Atma also, therefore Atma is Advitiya. There is no Vishaya. There is nothing to bring about Vikriya. So Vikriya. And so said, Puraha Tirascha Urdhvam Adhascha Sarvatah. So this is a description of what is described in the Chandogya Upanishad. This began with a question. Yo vai bhuma tadamritam athaidalpam tanmartyam. Says Sanat Kumara, yo vai bhuma. That is, bhuma of Brahman is amritam, is immortal. Atha yad alpam tanmartyam. What is not bhuma is alpam, limited, is mortal, changing. Then say Narada asked this question. Sa bhagavah kasmin pratisthitah iti. Hey Bhagavan, that bhuma such as that, kasmin pratishtha, where is it established? Iti. Really, what it means, what is Swarupa? Because everything is established in its own Swarupa. But anyway, where is this bhuma established? That bhuma, which is amritam, immortal, where is it established? Sve mahimni, an answer is given, Sve mahimni, in his own glory. Yadivan namahim neti, or I may say that it is not established even in the glory. It is not established. If you want to know where is it established, you can tentatively say it is established in his own glory. But really speaking, you cannot say it is established. The glory being what it is, the nature of glory of Bhuma being what it is, you cannot even say that Bhuma is established in its glory. Swarupa matra vishayatvat. Bhuma does not have Vishaya other than itself. Na Swarupa atirikta nishedha. Vishaya prasiddha mahima vishayatvam idyaha. Swarupa atirikta nishedha. There is a nishedha of anything other than Swarupa. It says, Go ashvameha mahima iti achakshate. Hasti hiranyam dasabhayam kshetrani ayatanani iti. So Sanat Kumar says that usually what is called glory is cattle and gold and wealth and big houses and palaces. That usually called Mahima, the glory. Naham evam brahmimi. Therefore, people say Chaitro yatha bhavati tadashritaha. The Chaitra possesses many cattle and gold and silver and houses, etc. That's called the Mahima, glory of Chaitra. So that is the usual meaning in which the word Mahima is used. Naham evam bravemi. I am not talking about the Bhuma or the glory of Bhuma in this manner. Then what am I saying? Bravemi huvat. Because anyohi anyasmin pratisthitaha. Usually when you say glory of so and so, then so and so is established in the glory. But there is so much cattle, so much wealth, so much fame, so much power established in the glory, which is different from that person. So usually Mahima is separate from the one who is abiding in the Mahima. Naham Brahmi, I am not talking about glory in that manner. Then, Anyohi Anyasmin Pratishtita, usually what is meant by glory is that one is established in glory that is different from oneself. I don't mean glory of Bhuma in that manner. Then, Katham? Sa eva adhasthat, sa uparishtat, sa paschat, sa purastat, sa dakshinatah, sa uttaratah, sa eva idam sarvamiti. Why am I saying that? Yatha bhuma eva adhasthat. What is below also is bhuma. Uparishtat, what is above also is bhuma. Paschat, what is behind also is bhuma. Purastat, what is in front also is bhuma. Dakshinatah, what is on the right also is bhuma. Uttaratah, what is the left also is bhuma. Seva idam sarvam, bhuma alone is all of this. What does it mean? The bhuma eva idam sarvam. Bhuma alone is everything. There is nothing other than bhuma that bhuma can be established in. As far as Chaitra is concerned, he has this glory which is different from him. Therefore, such entities such as Chaitra can be established in glory. I am not talking because there is nothing other than bhuma in which it can be established. So glory of bhuma is not like glory of Chaitra that is established in something other than himself. Yatra nanyat pashyati adhikarana adhikartavya nirdeshat. Say adhasthadidis are okay. Now this much is said. Apratishthatattve hetu ukto bhavati tasmad nasau kvachit pratisthitah. Anyasya bhavat. He is alone in front and back and wherever, therefore, there is no other one, therefore, there is no question of his being established in another one. But yatra nanyat pashyati, nanyat shrunoti, nanyat vijanati, sabhuma. This was told. Where one does not see anything, does not hear anything, does not know anything, that is bhuma. Iti adhikarana adhikartavya nirdeshat. Yatra nanyat pashyati, where one does not see the other, where one does not hear the where, is which case? Seventh case. That's called adhikarana. Adhikarana is location. With this location, there is always something that is located. If bhuma is yatra, in which bhuma? If bhuma is yatra location, then there is something located in bhuma. Adhikarana, adhikartavya nirdeshat, by the use of this seventh case yatra, there seems to be indication that there is this adhikarana, the location, and located in bhuma. Seva adhastad paroksha nirdeshat, and sah, that bhuma is adhastad. So seva adhastad, that is below, and that is above, and that is behind, and that is in front. So that, iti paroksha nirdeshat, when bhuma is described as that, then that is always something that is remote, and so bhuma is there described as something remote or paroksha. Drashtu jivat anyo bhumayati. So you think bhuma is that which is below and above and etc. Who say, I say that. That means that somehow I feel that bhuma is different from me. Drashtu jivat anya. That different from jiva. Who says, who's seeing this? Iti shanka mahabhut. That shanka should not arise. Therefore, bhumanameva atmana nirdishati. So bhuma alone is again described as aham atma, as the very nature of aham. Saha is something paroksha, remote. Aham is a paroksha. So the passage athato ahankara adesha. So now we will describe bhuma with reference to aham. Aham eva adhastat, aham uparishtat, aham paschat, aham purastat, aham dakshinatah, aham uttaratah, aham eva idam sarvamiti. Savai idam sarvam, that alone is everything, so I think that is different from me. Says no, ahankara adesha, with reference to ahankara, aham eva adhastat. I alone is what is below, I alone is what is below, I alone am what is above. What is behind? What is in front? What is right? What is left? What is everywhere? Aham eva idam sarvameti. I alone am everything. So, because the pronoun saha was used for bhuma, one may conclude that bhuma is paroksha, different from oneself, remote, separate from oneself. Therefore, ahankara adesha. Same bhuma is described with reference to aham. But then I have my own notion of aham. Aham is sanghatopi avivekabhi nirdishyate. And usually a person says aham, he includes all kinds of stuff in that. Sanghata, buddhi, manaha, indriyani, deha, all of this is usually included in aham. So then aham eva, I am alone everything, that one may think that I, the ahankara is everything. Atah tasya atmatva shankam varayitum, that ahankara is not atma. Athat atma adesha hai. Now same bhuma is described with reference to atma. Atma eva adhastat. From aham now comes to atma. Atma alone is below, Atma alone is above, Atma is behind, Atma is the front, Atma is the right, Atma is the left. Atma alone is Atma eva idam sarvamiti. So Saeva idam sarvam, Aham eva idam sarvam. So Saha is described as Aham, Aham is described as Atma eva idam sarvam. So this what we just read is described in the Tika here. Vishaya abhavena advayatmatve bhumavakya shesham arthatah pathati. The whole Bhuma is not described here, but partly, the part is described. Vishaya abhavena advayatmatve. There is no Vishaya. There is nothing other than Bhuma. Bhuma is Saha, Bhuma is Aham, Bhuma is Atma, nothing other than Bhuma. Saeva Sarvam, Aham eva Sarvam, Atma eva Sarvam. So therefore, Tika says, so Arthatah Pathati. This verse, Puras Tiraschod Madas Sarvata Sarvatah, Sampurna Bhuma Tvaya Atma Sthitah. So, Puras Tirascha Urdhvam Adascha Sarvatah Sampurna Bhuma. That describe Arthatah. That describe meaning of the passages that we just read. So those passages, the Bhuma is not described in the words in which Shruti describes. But Bhuma is described by Shruti, that is explained by the author here in his own words. स भगवः कस्मिन् प्रतिष्ठितेति स्वे महिम्नि यदि वा न महिम्नेति. Where is that Bhuma established? In his own glory, or maybe not in the glory also? Iti survavasthanam ananyadhinam upanyasya. That everything is, so this glory of Bhuma is that it established in its own nature. Usually glory is different from oneself. But by saying Yadiva na mahimni, that Mahima or a glory of Bhuma is said it is not different from Bhuma. So what is the glory of Bhuma? Its own nature of limitlessness is the glory of Bhuma. That Bhuma is established in its own Swarupa, which is the glory. Swarupa avasthanam ananyadhinam. Otherwise there is anyadhinatvam. When a person is established in glory such as fame, name, power, he is establishing something different from him. But establishing in the glory of one's own nature is ananyadhinatvam. I am not adhina, not dependent upon anything else. For being glorious, I am not dependent upon anything other than myself. Upanyasam. So, by saying that, Yadiva Namahimni, what says Sanat Kumara meant is that Bhuma is established in its own glory, it is not established in something other than itself. To explain that, all these things we are saying, Saeva, Adhastat, Purastat, etc. Tad Upapadanaya, for explaining it logically that there is nothing other than Bhuma. Idankaraspradam sarvam purva vibhagena adha uttara vibhagena upalabhimanam Bhuma ide pratipadya. Idankaraspradam. So saha, that means what? Idam. Idam means that which is different from me, which is removed, and that is indicated as saha, the masculine. So idankaraspradam sarvam purva vibhagena adha uttara vibhagena upalabhimanam, whatever we experience as east and west and above and below, etc. Bhuma eva. So whatever we experience is Bhuma. That was what is meant by idam. So saha idam. What we experience as other than me is all Bhuma. Ahankaraspadan, the experience is excluded there. All this idam is Bhuma, then what about me? Ahankaraspadasya dehadi. So Ahankaraspadasya dehadi tahi bhumna bheda. Then I may say that then Bhuma is different from me. Who am I? I am the individual. Who am I? Dehadi buddhi paryantasya. So how much I stretch, how much I pervade, how much I begin with buddhi up to deha, that is I. And this bhuma, which is indicated as that, is different from I, which is this. Iti shankayam aham buddhi grahami bhumaya. He says, no, whatever is experience aham, that also is bhuma. So whatever is experience idam is bhuma. Next one says, whatever experience aham also is bhuma. So aham eva adhastat, aham eva purastat, etc. Idam anidamaatmakasya sarvasya bhumna anyatva bhave. So idam, saha means idam. Aham is anidam. What is not idam is aham. Aham is different from the object. So idam anidamaatmakasya sarvasya bhumna anyatva bhave. Therefore, these two passages said that whatever is idam and anidam, all of that is bhuma. Bhedaka bhavat. Therefore, there is nothing that separates me from bhuma. Therefore, atma eva bhuma. So the conclusion is that what is idam different from idam and anidam? What is different? Idam and anidam is atma, which cannot be said to idam and anidam both. Anidam also with reference to idam. Idam is a reference to anidam or aham. So atma is different from aham also. So that which transcends the notions of idam and aham, that's why atma. Pratyega atma bhuma iti atma vedam sarvam. That pratyega atma is bhuma. Therefore the passage concluded, atma vedam sarvam, atma eva idam sarvam. Atma alone is all of this. Iti antena. So that was the third passage. Sa eva idam sarvam, aham eva idam sarvam, atma eva idam sarvam. Iti antena sampurna bhuma chandogya darshita. That bhuma is not confined to saha, not confined to aham. It includes everything. Therefore, sampurna bhuma was described. Chandogya darshita. That is how bhuma in its entirety, let us put it this way, was thus described or delineated in Chandogya Upanishad. So sampurna bhuma puras tiras chodma dascha sarvada sampurna bhuma. So that refers to these passages that we read from Chandogya Upanishad. Then tvaja atmani sthitah. So ajaha atmani sthitah, ajaha also is okay. Ajaha aham avirbhava vivarjitah yatah atmani sthitah. Ajoham, since I am ajaha, I am birthless, therefore aham. Ajaha means what? Avirbhava vivarjitah. What is birth? Avirbhava. Coming into being is called birth. So avirbhava vivarjitah, I am ajaha, birthless, devoid of avirbhava, devoid of manifesting, appearing, being produced, being created. Yatah atmani svemahimni sthitah. Therefore, I am established in Atma, svemahimni, in my own glory. That is myself is my glory. Nanyadhina iti. Therefore, I am not adhina, ananyadhina, nanyadhina, not dependent upon, not abiding in something else. Self-abiding. So you can't say abiding myself, but since abiding always goes, abiding always presupposes adhikarana, adhikartavya, the location located. So Sve Mahimni, seventh case also is location. Therefore, ajoham atmani sthitah. Therefore, birthless I am sthitah, established abiding in my own self. Ananya Dina. There is no Anya. Idea is that as far as Bhuma is concerned, there is no Anya. That there is no Vishaya. So Nirvishayatvam is also here delineated or described by the Shruti, which is restated here in different words. Okay. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashyakritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.